share the screen. So, ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we'll be discussing Lord Chaitanya's revealing himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we discussed last week Lord Chaitanya's return from Gaya and starting the Sankirtan movement. So when Lord Chaitanya returned from Gaya, he would exhibit the symptoms of ecstasy. Sometimes he would be just laughing, continuously for hours. He would laugh. Sometimes he would be just crying for hours. Thinking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would exhibit so many different symptoms of ecstasy. Sometimes he would jump so high in the sky and come down, crashing. All the as he fell to the ground, all the limbs would appear to be smashed. So Sachimata, when she was seeing all these symptoms of ecstasy, she was becoming more and more fearful. In fact, Sachimata, she would pray when she would see Lord Chaitanya jumping so high and then crashing to the ground. Sachimata, she couldn't bear that sight because that would make such a tremendous sound as if all the bones of his body would be smashed to pieces. But nothing would happen to Lord Chaitanya. But Sachimata would feel so fearful. So she would pray to Krishna. She would take shelter of Krishna and pray to Krishna, my dear Lord, please, for whatever devotion and service I have done to you, I ask only one benediction in return. That whenever my Nimai jumps like this and comes to the ground, make sure the earth becomes soft like cotton so that he doesn't feel any pain. And even when that happens, let me do not see that. But Sachimata was very much concerned, seeing the Nimai's symptoms of ecstasy, mood of ecstasy. She would feel very much concerned. She would consult different people in Navadvip about what was wrong with her son. Just imagine, Nimai was perfectly, fine till the time he went to Gaya. And when he returned from Gaya, he was a completely different person. So Mother Sachi, she couldn't comprehend that what is wrong with my son. She would go and consult with different people. that, can you tell me what is wrong with my son? Sometimes he keeps laughing, sometimes he's crying. I don't know what is wrong. And people in Navadip who are actually ignorant, they didn't know the symptoms of ecstasy, or they didn't know the the you know different modes of devotional service. So those ignorant people, they would tell Sachimata that your son has got some wind disorder, Vata rog. In Ayurveda, they call it Vata imbalance, imbalance of airs. So they would tell Sachimata that your son has got some wind disease, wind disorder disease, which causes kind of some craziness, and therefore he's gone more or less little crazy. Therefore, he's doing all of these. And so Sachimata would ask different people, what is the remedy? What should I do? So one person told, no, you should, uh, you know, take Shiva oil and massage all over his body with Shiva oil. Then his craziness will go away. Somebody else said, no, his disease is too acute for Shiva oil. The only solution is Vishnu ghee. And you should put him in the ghee, the pot of ghee, soak him from head to neck, so from toe to neck, and let him stand in the ghee, sit in the ghee for a whole, that will actually bring his, disease down. Actually, according to Ayurveda, if a person has got wind disease, oil is considered the best remedy, especially oil massage all over the body is considered best remedy. So people who are actually ignorant, they were thinking Lord Chaitanya has got some wind disease, and therefore they were giving all such crazy or foolish remedies to cure Lord Chaitanya. So one day, Srivas Pandit, he visited Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, seeing Srivas Thakur, a Vaishnava, he was so ecstatic and joyful. He fell to the ground unconscious. So Sachimata, she actually asked Srivas Pandit, can you tell me what is wrong with my son? I'm asking different people, and some people are telling my son has got some wind disorder. Srivas Pandit, he told Sachimata, your son doesn't have any wind disorder. In fact, whatever disorder he has, I'm hankering for that disorder. What he has, I'm hankering to have that disorder. These are nothing but the symptoms of ecstasy or joy. Your son is actually has developed the love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Srivas Pandit still didn't know that Vishwambar or Nimai is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he told Sachimata, these are the symptoms of ecstasy resulting from the love of God. So your son has actually attained the love of God. We hanker for attaining what he has. And Lord Chaitanya heard this statement from Srivas Pandit. And he told Srivas, my dear Srivas, everybody has been telling that I have wind disorder. If you would have also told today wind disorder, I would have tied a stone to my neck and drowned myself in Ganga. So in this way, Srivas Pandit, he actually pacified Sachimata. One day, Lord Chaitanya visited the house of house of Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya had actually two homes. One home he had in Navadvip. If you go to Navadvip, if you go to Mayapur especially, you will see Yogpeeth beside not Yogpeeth actually, beside Srivas Angan is the house of Advaita Acharya. Actually, next to Srivas Angan is Gadadhar Pandit's Bhavan, and next to Gadadhar Pandit's Bhavan is Advaita Acharya's Bhavan. So Advaita Acharya had one home in Navadvip and he had another home in Shantipur. So Lord Chaitanya visited the house of Advaita Acharya, which was in Navadvip, very close to Yogapit, not very far from Lord Chaitanya's home. So Advaita Acharya at that time was actually worshipping the deity, with worshipping the Vishnu's form, Krishna's form. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya saw this, he saw Advaita Acharya engaged in worshipping the deities. Lord Chaitanya actually became filled with so much love. He felt unconscious, seeing Advaita Acharya worshipping in this way. With so much love and devotion, Advaita Acharya was worshipping the deity. Lord Chaitanya felt unconscious. And Gadadhar Pandit was also there. So Advaita Acharya, whatever paraphernalia he had for worshipping his deity, he picked up all that paraphernalia, turned to Lord Chaitanya, who was lying unconscious there, and started offering the whole arti to Lord Chaitanya. And Gadadhar Pandit, when he saw this, he asked Advaita, because he knew Advaita Acharya, the foremost of Vaishnava, he was the leader of all the Vaishnava. So Gadadhar Pandit said, "My dear sir, what are you doing? Why are you worshipping this mere boy?" And Advaita Acharya, he looked at Gadadhar Pandit and he told Gadadhar Pandit, "How long you will continue to think him to be a mere boy?" And Gadadhar, as soon as he heard this statement from Advaita Acharya, he could understand the import of it. And the thought came into his mind, is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Hmm. And Advaita Acharya, after saying this uh, to Gadadhar, he told Gadadhar, if I am eternal servant, if I am a loyal and eternal servant of Lord Krishna, then he will bring me back to Navadvip. And saying this, he took his wife and children and left to Shantipur. Lord Chaitanya, as he was exhibiting symptoms of ecstasy, devotees would feel great amazement. And they would actually ponder when they would see the symptoms of ecstasy in Lord Chaitanya, they would feel greatly amazed. They would start wondering, in great amazement, they would wonder, who is this boy? He's exhibiting such symptoms of ecstasy. Maybe he's incarnation of Shukadev. Because Shukadev Goswami, when he would speak Shrimad Bhagavatam, he would actually go into the complete ecstasy. Then they think, no, maybe he's Prahlad or maybe Narad Muni. And sometimes they would wonder, maybe looks like the symptoms he exhibits are not possible in any of those personalities. Maybe he's the Supreme Lord himself. And Lord Chaitanya, when he would see the devotees, he would actually become very humble, and sometime he would start weeping and crying. One time Lord Chaitanya told the devotees, remembering his visit to Gaya, he told the devotees, actually, when I was in Gaya, I wanted to go to Vrindavan. So when I started going to Vrindavan, I actually went to the place called Kanai Natshala. There, I saw the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. Krishna gave his darshan to me at this place of Kanai Natshala. And then he ran away. He ran away from me. And saying this, Lord Chaitanya started weeping and crying. And all the devotees, when they saw Lord Chaitanya crying, even they started crying, but they were trying to pacify Lord Chaitanya. Even, the tears would, simply by seeing Lord Chaitanya's love, even they would, lose their patience and they would start crying. And When Lord Chaitanya was crying in this way, Gadadhar Pandit, he actually told Lord Chaitanya, why? Don't cry. Don't cry. Krishna is there in your own heart. Krishna is not to be found somewhere outside. He's there in your own heart. And Lord Chaitanya, when he heard the statement from Gadadhar Pandit that Krishna is in your own heart, he started tearing off. He was trying to tear off his own chest. Then I want to see him there. If he's there in my heart, I want to see him. So when he was trying to actually rip off his own chest, Gadadhar Pandit caught hold of him. And Sachimata was there. She was, she was so fearful seeing her own son was trying to rip off his own chest. She was in so much fear. And Gadadhar Pandit she got hold of his hands of Lord Chaitanya and he said, Krishna is coming. Krishna is coming. Please, please have patience. Krishna is coming. So when Lord Chaitanya heard this, Krishna is coming, he became pacified. And Sachimata started thinking, oh, this boy, Gadadhar, he's so intelligent. Only he can pacify my son. And she told Gadadhar, my dear son, please, please make sure that you always remain with my son. Only you can pacify him. One day, now, of course, when Lord Chaitanya was, in the midst of his devotees exhibiting these symptoms of ecstasy, the devotees were being tormented by the atheistic people in Navadip who were blaspheming and criticizing devotees. So devotees, they started exhibiting their lamentation to the Lord. The people in Navadip, they have, most of the population is actually becoming more and more bereft of devotion. People don't want to take to the process of devotional service. And the devotees, they were actually revealing their sorrow to Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya decided that it was the right time for him to remove the sorrow of his devotees. One day Lord Chaitanya was roaming on the bank of river Ganga, and he saw some cows grazing. As soon as Lord Chaitanya saw cows grazing, he remembered Vrindavan and he entered into the mood of being Krishna. So he started running and he was screaming on top of his voice, I am he, I am he, I am he. So Lord Chaitanya started running from bank of Ganga and he ran to the house of Shrivas Thakur. He entered to the house of Shrivas Thakur and ran inside screaming, I am he, I am he. And Lord Chaitanya, when he entered to the house of Shrivas Thakur, he saw Shrivas Thakur was in his deity room worshipping Lord Narsimhadev. And Lord Chaitanya, he looked at Shrivas, he said, Shrivas, the Lord whom you are worshipping, I am he. I am that personality. And Shrivas Thakur was stunned. He knew Nimai to be, has become a great devotee. But Lord Chaitanya was revealing that he is that same Supreme Lord whom he was worshipping. And then Lord Chaitanya started revealing to Shrivas Thakur. He said, my dear Shrivas, I know people are blaspheming the Vaishnavas. Actually, that day, the atheistic people, they were blaspheming. Shrivas Thakur heard their blasphemy. They were saying, this Shrivas Thakur and his brothers, they are such a nuisance to the whole Navadvip. These four brothers, they will ruin this whole city of Navadvip. They're loudly chanting the names of Lord Hari. And when the Muslim king And first of all, they are loudly chanting the names of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, who's sleeping in Yoga Nidra, will become so angry that he will, when he wakes up, he will destroy the entire Navadvip because of these offenses of these four brothers. And what about the Muslim king? The king has already heard that people in Navadvip are practicing the Hindu religion. He has already dispatched a boat full of soldiers. They would be coming any time. But we know these four brothers, they will run away, and then we all will be in trouble because of these four brothers. So let's tear off the home of Srivas Thakur and throw all the paraphernalia of his home into Ganga. And when the soldiers come, we will capture these four brothers and hand over them to the soldiers. So Srivas Thakur, when he was hearing this, he was actually feeling fearful. When he heard from people that the king has dispatched a boat full of soldiers, he was actually feeling fearful. So he was worshipping Lord Narasimhadev. And here comes Lord Chaitanya says, I am he. And then Lord Chaitanya could understand the fear of Srivas Thakur. He told Srivas, my dear Srivas, please do not be afraid. You should know that I am the same Supreme Lord who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. If I do not sanction, the soldiers will not be able to cross the river. The boat will drown in the river and they will not be able to reach this side of the river. And even if for some reason they do not drown and they come here, then I will go in front of them. I will tell them, take me to the king. And then I will go to the court of the king. And then I will challenge the king. My dear king, the king is a Muslim, it's a Yavana king. So I'll tell him, bring all your mullahs, all your priests. And then I'll ask him to bring all the animals in their royal palace, all the horses and elephants and all other animals that they have in the palace. And I'll challenge all these mullahs to make these animals chant the names of their God and cry. And let me tell you, Srivas, they will not be able to do that. Then by my own power, simply by touching these animals, I will make all the animals chant the names of Krishna and weep in ecstasy, shedding tears. And Srivas was looking in great amazement at Lord Chaitanya when Lord Chaitanya is describing all this. So Lord Chaitanya said, Srivas, you don't believe me that I can do this? Just see. And then that time, there was a 4-year-old niece of Srivas who was standing very close by. Her name was Narayani. So Lord Chaitanya touched Narayani gently with his own hand and said, Narayani, chant Krishna and weep. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya instructed Narayani in this way, Narayani, she actually started shedding tears. The tears were flowing from her eyes like the river. And she started calling out, Krishna, Krishna, with great love. She was calling out the name of Krishna and weeping and crying. And Srivas Thakur was completely amazed. He offered beautiful prayers to Lord Chaitanya, understanding the Lord to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One day, Lord Chaitanya, he entered into the mood of Akrura. Akrura, who actually came to Vrindavan, he came in such a humble and sincere mood, constantly meditating on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. In fact, there is a chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam which describes the mood of Akrura. How Akrura was constantly meditating how he will, as soon as he reaches Vrindavan, he would get to see the footprints of Lord Krishna. And he was thinking how Krishna and Balram will actually receive him. So he was meditating in so many different ways, the reciprocations with Krishna and Balram that he will have. He was thinking in the mind, I am going there on the instruction of Kamsa. Now, I hope Krishna and Balram, they don't think me to be their enemies, but they are the Supreme Lord. They know the heart. As we say, Bhava Grahi Janardana, Krishna is hungry for the bhava. So they know my bhava, they know my inner heart. So Lord Chaitanya would exhibit the mood of different, Vaishnavas, some different devotees. One day Lord Chaitanya went to the house of Murari Gupta. And Murari Gupta, he was also in his DT room that time. So Lord Chaitanya went to the house of Murari Gupta, rightly entered into his DT room. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya entered the DT room, he assumed the huge form of Varahadev. Murari Gupta couldn't see Lord Chaitanya. He actually saw a giant bowl in his DT room. And Lord Chaitanya saw there was a copper pot, water pot, of copper lying in one corner of Murari Gupta's DT room. So Lord Chaitanya picked up, and the Varahadev, he picked up that water pot and put it on his tusk, representing the earth. And he told Murari, Murari, offer me prayers. And Murari was completely dumbfounded. He couldn't speak a word. But when Lord Chaitanya instructed him, he started speaking, my dear Lord, I am just an insignificant person. What prayers I can really offer? I am so ignorant. Even Vedas cannot fully describe or glorify you. I'm just an ordinary, insignificant human being. How can I glorify you? In fact, the extent of your glories is not possible for even Ananta Shesha to fully describe. So how come even Vedas can describe completely your glories? And Lord Chaitanya, he actually expressed his anger on the Vedas. That Vedas have audacity to say that, uh, that I don't have any form, I don't have any hands, I don't have any limbs. And then Lord Chaitanya, he told Murari, there is one sannyasi in Banaras, in Varanasi actually. He speaks from the Vedas these statements that I do not have any hands, I do not have any legs. Because of these offensive statements he makes, he has got leprosy in his body and he doesn't even know that. And then, Lord Chaitanya, he told Murari, my dear Murari, my devotees are very dear to me. They are more dear to me than my very life. In fact, my devotees are more dear to me uh, than Lord Baladev, Lakshmi Devi, or even my very self. If anyone offends my devotees, anyone becomes aggressor to my devotees, I have taken a solemn, I will personally destroy that person. And then Lord Chaitanya, in the form of Varahadev, he told Murari, actually, when I appeared in this form of Varaha, I have lifted the earth from the nether regions. And because of my touch, the earth, the Bhumi Devi, became pregnant. And she delivered a son whose name was Bhauma. I named that son Bhauma, and I personally trained him. In this form of Varadev, I actually trained my son to become a very righteous and powerful king. And he was a good king. He was protecting the people in general. But at the hands of destiny, no, he fell in the bad association of Banasur. And from Bhauma, he became Bhaumasur. And becoming and imbibing the Asuric mentality, he started troubling my devotees. So what did I do? I personally killed him when I appeared in the form of Krishna. So I tell you, my dear Murari, my devotees are most dear to me. If anyone troubles my devotees, even if he be my own son, I will destroy him. So Murari was so joyful and happy hearing these beautiful statements and assurance from the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya, he was revealing his identity to different devotees. He revealed the identity to Srivas Pandit. He revealed his identity to Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit. He revealed his identity to Murari Gupta. I think we'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, you may ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, when did Lord Chaitanya reveal his identity to Advaita Acharya?
When he came to the house of Advaita and fell unconscious, right? So in this way, Advaita Acharya understood. But of course, there is another pastime which will be coming, where Lord Chaitanya would, Advaita Acharya would try to test Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya would reveal his glory or his position to Advaita Acharya. There's one more beautiful pastime where Lord Chaitanya would bring Advaita Acharya back from Shantipur, because Advaita Acharya left saying to Gadadhar that if he's my Lord, then he'll bring me back at his lotus feet. So that pastime will be coming in the future.
So till this time, Advaita Acharya knew that Lord, this little boy is Lord himself. So
yes, there are actually many pastimes where Lord actually revealed Advaita before. When Vishwarup took sannyas and left, Advaita Acharya, he also wanted to leave and take sannyas and go to the forest. There was a celestial sound which came from the sky. He told Advaita Acharya, please do not go to the forest. And the Supreme Lord has already appeared. He will come in the association of devotees very soon. Till that time, you all should chant the glories of the Supreme Lord. So Advaita Acharya started Kirtan. And as soon as he started Kirtan, Nimai appeared in front of Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya asked, why have you come? And Lord Chaitanya said, why did you call me? And saying this, he ran away. And whenever Advaita Acharya and his wife Sita Thakurani, they saw Nimai as a small boy, they would feel the same attraction as they felt for Bal Gopal. So they had inner feeling that this child is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Really.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Okay. So if no more questions, then we can stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. कल्पतरुभ्यः